Hi everyone, this is Nataraj. I'm back with the other video. In this video, I'm going to talk about that managing the OS policy assessment in the VM manager using Terraform. What is a VM manager? The VM manager is a service is designed to help you manage and maintaining your VM instance in the GCP. It's provide the capability for OS configuration management, patch management and inventory management. Ensure that your VMs are secured and compliant and up to date with the security features. Imagine that you are the IT administrator for the company that runs several critical applications on the VM. These applications need to be the secured and compliant within the industrial standard, which means you keep the operating systems and the software up to date with the latest security patch. Manually managing the patching for all the VM, it could be the time consuming. There is where the VMs comes to be that automated and simplify the process. The VM manager supports the various distributions such as CentOS, RHEL, Daemon, Ubuntu and Windows servers. The key component for that VM manager: patching, OS inventory management, OS policies. Next one is that benefit of the using VM manager. We can see that one by one. The first one is that automated compliance. Ensure that your VM is held up to the organization's policy and the compliance requirement. Next one is that enhancement security. Keep your VM is secured by automating the patching process and ensure that you are up to date with the latest security updates. Next one is that simplify the management. It can reduce the complexity of managing your VM by using that VM managers. Improve the visibility. So through inventory management you can view the state of the VM details. Explanations of the each features. We can see that one by one. The first one is the patching. This feature is automate the patch management for operating systems and the package. It is used for ensure the systems are up to date with the latest security updates and patches. Next one is that OS inventory management. It helps to collect the details about that OS and the package installed across that VM instance. Next one is that OS policies. This feature is allow you to create and enforcing that OS policies such as installations and removing or updating the package on the VM. VM manager architecture diagram. See the image below for the configuration element. The one thing to be note, the settings will be applied just for installing that OS configuring agent on the instance. The settings are designing to be applied to the instance where the VM manager is enabled in the instant metadata. Moving to the Visual Studio Code, we can see the code one by one. We are at the Visual Studio Code. The entire source code is available in my repository. You can clone from any time. We can see the Terraform file one by one. The first one is that main.tf file. The first resource is the Google project service. These resources are enabling the necessary APIs for this project. In our demo, I enabled the 4 APIs. We can see one by one deeply. The first one is that OS config API. It is used for managing and OS configurations for that my policies. Next one is that compute engine API. It is used for managing that VM instance. Next API is that Google resource managing API. This API is mainly used for managing the project resources. Next API is that IAM API. It is used for managing that identity access management roles and the permission. Next resource is that time_sleep resource. This resource providing that delay for the 90 seconds to be that ensure the project service are fully initialized before proceeding with the rest of the configurations. So whenever you are performing that enabling the API, it takes generally some time. So avoiding that collisions, so that I am using for that time sleep resource. Next resource is that Google Compute Project metadata item. We are setting that metadata for entire project. So the metadata to enabling the OS configurations and that guest attributes for the VM on the project side. Next one is the data block. This data block is retrieving that default compute engine service account for the specific projects. So next resource is that assigning that IMA roles. In our case, we are enabling the couple of IMA roles. We can see one by one. The first one is that OS config guest policy admin role, which is allowed that the service account to managing that OS policies. Next role is that compute instance admin v1 role, which is allowed to that service account to managing that VM roles. Basically this IMA role is assigning the role to that default compute engine service account. Next resource is the Google Compute Engine. So we are provisioning the VM instance. Let us see the attribute one by one. First one is the naming. The naming of the VM instance I am assigning with the Cloud Root 7. Next one is that machine types. I used with the E2 micro. Basically it's a cost effective instance types I used. Next one is the zone where your VM will be that created. Depends upon your use case, you can choose any zone. Next attribute is that allowing the stopping for the update. This attribute is mainly used to allowing the VM instance to stopping for the update. Next attribute is that metadata. This is necessary for that OS config agent to be function properly, as well as that collecting that guest attributes. Next one is that boot device. So we are initializing the booting device. I used that Ubuntu. This is the LTS version I used in that image section. Next one is that network interface. This VM will be creating with the default networks, and assessing and access underscore config, which means that I'm assigning that external IP address. Next one is the labeling. The labeling is mainly used for that organization filtering purpose. Next one is the service accounts. So the service account mainly used for specifying that used for me in that VM side. The scopes I'm allowing to access the Google Cloud Services. Next one is the metadata for startup scripts. This startup script starts running that when the VM is that created. So here I'm defining certain commands. First one is the installing and the enabling and starting that OS configuration agents. Next attribute is the depend on. This mainly used to creating the dependency on that completions of the previous time sleep waiting resource. The next resource is that Google OS config OS policy assessment. This resource is ensured that the OS policy will be installing and enforcing the installations of Apache web server on the Ubuntu instance in the specific locations. We'll see the attribute by one. First one is that name. The name of the OS policies assessment we defined. Next one is the locations where the policy assessment will be that apply. Next one is the description. The descriptions of the OS policies assessment. Next one is the rollout. This rollout strategies for applying the policies. Next one is that disruption budget. This is a specific number of the VM that can be applied with that disruption at the same time. Next one is the min wait durations. It is that waiting duration between that applying the policy for different machines. Next one is that instant filter. This filter is used to that filter the instance which policy will be that apply. Next one is the all. The all means that all the instance is specific location going to apply these policies. Next attribute is that OS policies. This OS policy is used for to defining the OS policy to be that apply. Here I used with that mode. There is so many mode is available. So in my case I used with the enforcement, which means that policy will be enforced to apply with all that VM in this specific location. Next one is the resource group. This resource group is mainly used to do that specifying the package to installing using that apt-get package manager. In my case I used with Apache 2, but according to your scenario you can choose with any other of package. So next file I am going to open with the provider.tf file. This file is mainly used with that authenticating with the GCP cloud. I used it with the specific credential, it containing that full privilege, and using this provided I can managing with the specific project and the region with the specific zones. Next one is that variable.tf file. This variable.tf file is variable is allowed to customize the configurations according to my projects. Here I'm choosing with the project ID, region, zones. So many things I'm using here. Next we are moving to the terminal to execution the entire operations. I'm going to click the 3 dot, new terminal. So I'm going to executing the Terraform init command to downloading all the plugins. Installation is completed. I'm going to executing the Terraform plan command. Yeah, you can see the thing, the 10 resource going to add, 0 changes, 0 destroyed. I'm going to executing the Terraform apply command. It asking the user input. I can going to provide with yes. Now the resource creation is going on. Terraform operation successfully completed. I'm going back to the GCP console page. I am at the GCP console. I'm going to click with the compute VM instance. I type VM. I click the VM instance. Yeah, you can see a thing, the instance is created. If you scroll down below, there is a VM manager will be there. I use with OS policies. I'm going to click this option. So I'm going with that OS policy assessment. Yeah, you can see here the OS policy assessment is created here. So next tab I'm going to click on VM instance. Yeah, you can see I think the state is compliance, so it's perfectly working my OS policy assessment, and going to click that cloud root 7. So assessment is ID will be showing on, so what time will be executed, the entire information showing here itself. I'm going back here. I'm going to log in at that my compute, whether that Apache package is installed or not. I'm going to type with the VM. Click the VM instance. I'm choose with the SSH and open with browser windows. So now I'm logging to that my VM. I'm going to executing with the Apache -version command. You can see here the Apache package is successfully installed. I hope this video will be useful to everyone. Thanks for watching. Bye.